Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Your Daily Five presented by StockCharts TV. I'm your host for today's show. My name is Grayson Roze. I am the Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com, as well as the author of Trading for Dummies and Tensile Trading, the 10 Essential Stages of Stock Market Mastery. It's great to be back with you all for another edition of Your Daily Five. This is one of my favorite shows that we do on StockCharts TV because you get such a dynamic look from such a dynamic group of different analysts every day. So it's always a blast to see what everyone else brings to this show, but always really fun to jump on here and host you guys on my own as well. So really looking forward to what I got for you today. I've got 5 charts that I'm watching really closely that I think you're going to want to take a look at. So let's dive into the action without any further ado. First up, now this is a chart that I've actually talked about on the show before. This is what I call my ultimate S&P 500 chart. And I am cheating here a little bit. I've got, 9 charts stacked up into one. So a little bit of a cheat, but it is a fantastic chart. This is something that I look at generally on a weekly basis. This is part of my weekly routine that I'll run through every Sunday. And so what it does is it stacks up not just the S&P 500, which is what we have up there in the top price panel, but also a lot of these sort of internal metrics, some of the ratio charts that I like to watch to sort of gauge where the market is, sort of from a psychology standpoint, from a positioning standpoint. What's leading under the surface? What's lagging under the surface? What are sort of the driving forces behind the market? So when we look at this chart of the S&P 500, you can see in the top panel, we have a market that is just rocketing higher to new highs. Now, if I could zoom in here, we'd see many, many up days in a row, pulling back a little bit today, which is frankly a good breather. I'm glad to see us doing that. But incredible strength coming into this index. We're elevated above the moving average, the 200-day moving average, which is this pink sort of shaded area. We're elevated above that, higher than we've seen in many, many months. So I mean, fantastic price action, very, very strong price action, a little bit extended, a little bit stretched. I think we do need to see a bit of a short-term pullback here. We're getting a taste of that today with just a little bit of a pullback. But, this market just continues to rocket higher. Then when we look sort of under the surface at what's going on with some of these other metrics that I like to watch, the first one we have is a breadth measure. This is the percentage of stocks in the S&P 500 that are trading above their 200-day moving average. Now, this continues to move higher and higher, which is great. I love to see this. Anytime we're over 50, I breathe a little sigh of relief. So to see us over that 50 level here, finally in the percentage above 200-day moving average, that is a great measure of strength. So I do like to see that increasing breadth in the market. This is the offense versus defense ratio, consumer discretionary versus consumer staples. Seeing that moving higher is great. That means that offense is leading to the upside. We'd like to see that strength. Growth outperforming value heavily, heavy outperformance by growth. This is growth versus value. What we have here is momentum. Now, momentum has been a little bit choppy. This is momentum versus the S&P 500. A little bit choppier than I'd like to see, but generally still moving to the upside. So if we can see this continuing to move higher, that's a sign of strength for the market, I would say. Now, here we have the S&P 500 versus the S&P 400, so large versus mid caps. Now we can see that this has been heading lower actually for the last couple of months overall, but starting to tick higher again. We're seeing large caps leading mid caps. The same story here for small caps. This is large caps versus small caps, the S&P 600. And what we can see is this line moving higher again. So we can see continued outperformance of the large caps over small caps. Now, when we look here, we actually have the equal weight ratio. So within the S&P 500, which is a cap-weighted index, we can look at the equal-weighted version of that relative to the cap-weighted index. And what we can see is that line just continues to move lower and lower. So, it's not just the big caps that are leading. It's really the biggest of the big caps that are leading. Now, here, finally, we have the S&P 500 versus the long bond ETF, TLT. And we can see that stocks are just continuing to outperform bonds. That's a difference from what we've seen earlier in the year. So, that strength in stocks over some of these other asset classes is a key sign for the markets moving forward. So next up, with that sort of high-level market view out of the way, now if you follow me on Twitter, you might see something that I like to do every week. I put out a list that I call 10 I'm Stalking. It's 10 stocks that I think are setting up. At the end of every week, I run through my portfolio reviews. I run through all my routines. I run through my scans and I digest everything and I try to sweep everything down to a list of 10 stocks that I think are setting up really beautifully for the week and the months ahead. So you can see what I have on this this week's 10 I'm Stalking list. Again, if you follow me on Twitter, this is something that I put out once a week, generally on Sundays. So what I've done here for the other 4 that I've got on my daily 5 list, I've got some of those stocks off that list. I thought it'd be fun to take a look at them with you guys. So one of the things that I like to do is think thematically. Now, I buy strength. I buy breakouts to new highs. I love to see stocks that are making new 52-week highs. That is the ultimate sign of strength for me. And I love that setup when you have a stock that is breaking out to new 52-week highs, or breaks out, comes back to test that breakout level, and then bounces off of it, like we're seeing here with CrowdStrike. So I love to buy strength. I love to find these new breakouts to new highs. I also love to think thematically about what I think should be working in the market. I keep these theme trade lists. I call them theme trade lists. And what I do is I try to think about these big themes that a lot of people are talking about, big themes that are driving the market, like cloud adoption, e-commerce, digital payments. Those sorts of big themes are things that I love to track, and I love to fill up these lists with all the stocks that are going to fit into those different theme trade categories. And then I can run scans on those. I can look for the ones that are actually starting to work. So I'm never jumping into something just because it ticks a theme trade box. But the key is that I'm using the theme to sort of guide my my search, and I'm using those different themes to sort of find a place to look, right? So when I see something that fits into a theme that I think just logically makes a lot of sense, and then technically on the charts we see it start to move higher, start to outperform, start to look great with a strong trend, a nice breakout, all those different things. That is beautiful to me. I love to combine that theme trade concept with strong technicals that I'm seeing on the charts. So thematically, what we have with CrowdStrike is a cybersecurity stock. As everything moves online, I think we're going to see a continued uptick in cybersecurity, the importance of that. So CrowdStrike here is a cybersecurity theme play for me. Now, what I love to see, I've actually dragged this out to the last just over a year. This company went public about a year ago, just over. And so what we've seen is some consolidation, really. After the initial IPO, we saw a nice run up to about the 100 level, and some consolidation since then. Now we're seeing this breakout to new highs. We've come back to sort of test that breakout level, and we're moving higher off of it on great outperformance. This is how CrowdStrike is holding up relative to the total market. Great outperformance there. Nice accumulation, leading on the scooter rank. I love what I'm seeing here from CrowdStrike. And thematically, again, a stock that really makes a lot of sense to me. So CrowdStrike is one from my 10 I'm Stalking list this week. Now, next up, the theme here with Roku is streaming. We're seeing more and more people cutting the cord. A lot of discussions about that. Roku is poised to benefit from that. So I love the theme surrounding Roku. And what we've seen is a big run. This is actually a 2-year chart of Roku. Big run in 2019, but sort of up to this, 176 level. And that's a level that we've actually bounced off now about 3 times. If you sort of think of these as actually failed bounces, it's even been more. What we're seeing now is an attempt to break through that level finally. So this is a well-tested resistance area for Roku over the last year. I love to see us testing this on, again, some nice outperformance. The accumulation isn't as strong as I'd like to see, but the scooter looks fantastic. Some nice volume on the move. This is, I think, a beautiful breakout setup for Roku, and thematically makes a lot of sense as well. And we're going to go back to cybersecurity for just a second. Another one in that space is Rapid7. I love the move here. Again, nice outperformance. We're seeing this outperforming VTI, especially over the last couple of months. A nice breakout after some consolidation, moving sideways here for quite a while, but breaking out to new highs. Beautiful accumulation. I love to see that. Some nice volume here as well. And again, a leading scooter score. That's exactly what I like to see. So I really like what I'm seeing technically on the setup for Rapid7 RPD here. And again, thematically, part of that cybersecurity group that I think is poised to do really well. Next up, we have a digital payments play. Now, Visa is one that we're probably all familiar with, but what we're seeing here is that Visa's actually been struggling to outperform for quite a while. We're starting to see a potential reversal of that. I personally love the digital payment space. I think that anyone in that space, Square, PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, those kinds of players, I think as the world moves more and more online, everything is sort of getting away from a cash-based economy. I think those players are poised to benefit for many years. So I love the setup here on Visa. Great outperformance, especially in the last week. We're seeing accumulation start to tick up. We're a little bit overbought in the RSI here, but the scooter score heading up, accumulation heading up, some decent volume here as well. moving averages look great. The trend looks great. We're breaking out to new highs, and we're starting to outperform the total market here. Again, this is Visa versus VTI, the total market. So I love the move and the position from Visa, and I think thematically that's again another one that makes a lot of sense to me. So again, combining that sort of observational theme-based approach with technicals, and technicals are the ultimate factor that's going to get you in and out of stocks. You're going to basically say, these are the themes that I think are going to work. Now I'm going to confirm that with the charts. I'm going to go over here, watch those themes, but I'm not going to do anything until I really see the chart start to move and set up properly. So anyways, these are four that I think are setting up well. If any of this resonates with you, I'd love to keep in touch. Follow my work. You can follow me again on Twitter. I put out that 10 I'm Stalking list every week. So follow me on Twitter at Grayson Roze. You can also follow my other work at stockmarketmastery.com or either of my books. I've written 10 Tensile Trading, the 10 Essential Stages of Stock Market Mastery, and Trading for Dummies. So check out either of those and reach out. Would love to keep in touch. Love to hear from you. So thank you again for watching. It's been a blast to be with you here on today's episode of Your Daily 5. Looking forward to being back for the next one very soon. Chart on, my friends.
Hey, Grayson Roze here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.